Hello everyone. Last week we saw the shloka where Krishna mentioned that how one has to make sure that when responsible adults are practicing their actions or living their life, many people are looking up to them. Most importantly, children. Children are observing us, and people at responsible positions are being followed and observed. And it's very important for these people to make sure that their actions reflect the principles with which they want to live or they want to be followed by others. This week, let's see what he is going to say in terms of how we need to not only do the actions, but in terms of why the actions that we do, the way we live happens. What is the reason that we are not able to really identify the divinity within ourselves, even though we are sincere, we wanted to adhere, and we wanted to live the life that we wanted to live, but still we could see that we are not allowed, or we were forced to deviate from the path. What is making it happen? For example, now we all know that if Krishna is asking us to do all these things, obviously we have so much trust in him. But still, when we go outside and start living our life, we seem to deviate from what we learned, and we are not able to 100% follow the principles or the lessons that we learned. What is happening? So now he says, he takes the teachings one level up. He says that these are the things, do these actions, but then there is one thing that you're not understanding, Arjuna, that is making you not to live your life the way you wanted to live. Once you are aware of it, then everything else will fall in place. That is the trick that wise people understand, but many ignorant people are just living without knowing that trick. Now, that what is the trick is going to explain in the next few shlokas. Let's learn that one. Uh, 27th verse, chapter 3. Let me share the screen so that you all can see. Okay. प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते. So the trick is this: everything happens not because you are doing it, but because it is happening automatically within your body. Whatever that we do, we are we think that we think that you think I don't know, Krishna is asking Arjuna, you think that you are being so emotional, you are not able to bear a situation, you are right now reacting, Arjuna. You don't want to go into this war because you see a lot of your people being affected, and so you empathize with them and you react and you say that, oh, I cannot engage myself in this war. which is true with most of us. We get emotional and we react to situation, and we are attracted automatically towards few things. For example, some pleasures in life, food, for example, tempted. Naturally, our body and mind goes towards our favorite food if that is placed right in front of us. Have you observed that? Any sweets or any favorite food, if that is placed right in front of us, naturally, without you doing any effort, our mind, our eyes, our inner being goes towards that. Maybe you can say that, food, I'm not that much, I can still stay away from food. Okay, I can give you another alternative. I'll place a bowl filled with gold jewelry, or you know new dress, or any such thing that is of materialistic from outside world that you like. Everyone need not have weakness in all things in this world. If you look at it, if one person is weak, has a weakness in buying cars after cars, right? That person may have 4 cars at home. He himself or she himself may not know why I have 4 cars, but I am just passionate about buying cars. And we will say that, oh, that person is crazy behind cars, but we don't know what our weakness is. I'll tell you, we may not have the weakness in buying too many cars, but we may have weakness in buying jewelry, or we may have weakness in going and eating in multiple restaurants. This taste is good, that taste is not good, this food is good, that food is not good. So everyone has got one weakness, and the reason is that that one weakness is enough to ruin us, right? We don't have to be given all the weaknesses we can have. That is not needed. We are not that strong. I mean, we are not that strong that we have to be given all the weakness to make us weak. That one weakness is just enough for us to be brought down. That's what he thinks. That is why everyone will have at least one weakness where he or she can never get out of it, how much so ever we tried. And that is not actually, that is, we think that it is our weakness within ourselves. That is what now even Arjuna has a weakness. It's not, you and I are not out of question. When Arjuna himself, who is the greatest of the warriors, and he has a leader in his own right, he himself has this greatest weakness, that in the middle of the battlefield, when he is hesitating to do the duty, what he is supposed to do, then where is the question of you and I uh, showing up our weaknesses, right? So it is quite acceptable. We are all mortals. So now Krishna points out the reason behind the weaknesses that exist in human minds. He says that you are exhibiting this kind of emotion now not because of your you are doing that. Don't take the blame on you. There is another reason for it. That is also the reason for us doing everything with an attachment. Everything we do it with a strong attachment. Now the very teachings that he asks us to do is to do actions with no attachment. Do everything as your duty, just as a yajna, prayer unto me. Then you can stay happy. But if you put your heart into it as an attachment, then you create a binding. And he says that why we create an attachment within ourselves. The reason is that this body, when I say this body, mind and buddhi, intellect, everything is made up of material nature. Material nature means 5 elements. 5 elements are this earth. Number one is earth, space, water, fire and wind. So this whole body is made up of this 5 elements. No one can escape it. That is the truth. 5 elements is called Prakriti. So Prakrite, that's how the shloka itself starts. Prakritam, this all human body, animal body is all made up of Prakriti. And this Prakriti or these elements have got their own nature. Fire has got its own nature. We all know that what it will do. Anything that you put on, it will just burn. And the more you put on, the more it will ask for it, right? It will burn even more and it will ask for more. And it can accept any number and just burns, right? That is the nature. That nature is within us. If you look at it, one of the elements has got that nature. It will burn anything and everything, and that nature is there in this body because this body is again made up of those five elements. How can we escape, right? And so that is the reason for our greed. We ask for more and more. There is never a time that we just say enough. I'm okay, I don't want any more. Maybe we will say when we are not able to accept it, that when we are eating, for example, you have eaten a lot, you cannot take any more, then we will say that's fine, it's okay. But not on things that we can, we are not overwhelmed. For example, money or dress or jewelry or cars or houses. People buy many houses, they are not happy just with one or two houses, as many properties, right? Acquisition, acquire. So that is coming from this element. Fire is there in this body, we cannot deny that fire within us is making that happen. Water, if you look about, if you think about it, water is one of that five elements, and this body is 70% water. That's what they say, right? And so water has got its own tendency, right? So that is also acting on us. Earth, if you look at earth, it is just hard, and it is it's not flowing like water. So what happens is at times we will rock. It's a rock, right? Earth is like rock. So we are not moved. Even if others cry, beg, ask for few things, we will say no, I'm not giving you that. Where do we get that behavior from? Because his mind is also made up of earth, and earth has got that rock behavior of a rock. The nature of earth is hardness. That hardness is there in our mind, in our body. At times we will say okay for many things. At times we will be rock. We will say no, I'm not going to do for you. And people will ask how cruel you are. How can you be so, is your heart a rock, right? Is your heart frozen? So water has got that the tendency, right? Water can just freeze if the conditions are extreme. So that is what is your heart frozen. How can you say no to that, or how can you say yes to it? So at times we experience that, and at every moment it's a mixture of the behavior of these five elements that are acting in us, and we ourselves do not know which one is dominant at any point of time. And whichever is dominant at that time, our behavior is based on that. Fire is dominant, let's say at one point of time, I will naturally show anger. Water and wind, let's say wind is active inside me, then I will be moving here and there, I'll be restless, I'll be anxious, I don't know what to do, I'll just go here and there, do things. That means wind element is quite active within me. At times I will be spaced out, in the sense like I will just be able to sit and meditate. So space element, emptiness, just void. There are actually two kinds for everything. Fire has got actually two kind. One kind is good fire, where we will be able to have a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and doing things. Fire needs all those things, right? Let's do. If there is a wedding at home, let's say. You needed to be active, energetic, go run around, get things, print invitations, go meet, invite people. You needed a lot of energy to do all those things. So naturally, that is good fire that is running inside our body. And there are times there is bad fire also, where we will be just burning, yelling at others, screaming, mad at others for no reason. And at the end of the day, we will sit and cry. Why did I yell at them? Why was I so mad? Fire element was bad. Fire element was active at that time. But whether it is good or bad, what is the fundamental point here is that five elements are operating within our body. And we know that we have five um, wind, air element that is there in our body already. Right? One is used for digestion, and one is used for our breathing, and so on. Right? So we have that five air element. It's not just one air element. Air in general is there, but internally it is used for multiple purposes. And that is how this body is made up of. And this body is, since it is made up of those five elements, it will show its nature. Whenever there is some food, there is attraction, there is some not so good thing happening, that five element will display its nature. We cannot avoid it. We can prevent it, but we should have that awareness. Oh, that five elements is right now active. That is why awareness is very important. That is why they keep talking about mindfulness. Whatever that we talk, whatever that we live, whatever that we say, do, think, thoughts are the first indication that what element is active at this time. If we are having some destructive thoughts about ourselves or about others, then definitely bad elements are active. Right? And we should right there stop it. The reason is, it's not we are doing it. The elements are active within us all the time. They are restless. They are active all the time. And they are the ones, in fact, they are good. It's not that you cannot get rid of those elements and their behavior. The nature of elements and their behavior is what is running this whole body in the first place. Internally, we eat food, right? We take food through our mouth. We know the food only until the moment it descends here, down our throats. Once it goes down, what is that we know about that food? We don't even have anything to say what happens to that food. Body decides how to accept that food. It separates out, it just first digests the food by providing all sorts of internal juice, right? The glands that are there that just spit necessary fluids onto that food, digest it, and extract the vitamins, nutrients from the food, and it discards the waste and gives it to the waste system. Waste system excretes it. Do we have anything to do here? We don't even know what is needed. Are we eating vitamins and minerals? No, we eat only food. And the body is having the intelligence to pick up what is minerals, what is vitamins, what do I need for growth, what do I need for maintaining this body. I don't decide. Body decides it. So, and also the functioning of the body. The whole body operates quite naturally with some kind of magic. Even when I'm sleeping, heart beats, digestion happens, lungs work, it takes in air, exhales air, inhale and exhale is happening without even my voluntary effort. So there are so many involuntary organs that are just functioning without our knowledge. How come that we are thinking that, I have bought that house? Is it true that I have done this work? How can that is what now Krishna is asking. When you are not even aware of what is happening inside your body, When you are not even in control of your own being, body operates all by itself. Body maintains you. It's not you maintaining the body. You have to take care of the body, of course, but whatever that body runs you, and that system that is created you, you are just free already, is what now Krishna is trying to say. We are not even, see, when we look at from that perspective, we don't have to worry about this body at all. This body functions on its own without, all you need to do is take our food, sleep, and do some activities, right? Then it will do its job automatically. Give some little bit of exercise to this body, then it will all do its job wonderfully. Mind also, when we say body, mind is inside the body and it is attached to the body, and mind will exhibit five elements nature. Thoughts can just be sporadic, random. It just picks a random thought from somewhere and will start thinking about it. And we should be aware, oh, now this my mind is gone somewhere. So if you look at it, uh, if, if we start living the life where we witness what is happening in our body, what is happening in our mind, then we will have a better life. We all associate ourselves with the happenings in our around us. We just become a victim of the situation around us. But instead, if something not happening good around us, let's say about us, or someone is yelling at us, and our mind is starting to react, if we adopt, it's not easy, and I know that it is not easy, definitely, because we have been used to think that way. We will immediately start yelling or defending ourselves and start protecting ourselves, right? Even before that, if we take one step back and then think like, oh, my mind is starting to defend that person, then that is called the witness, being acting as a witness to ourselves. So then we are maturing. If we work towards that witnessing, oh, my body is reacting automatically, going towards this, doing this actions, whatever that I am doing, right? When you have observed, that is the very nature now Krishna is proposing, that when you, for example, when it itches here, let's say, for example, while speaking to you, I'll probably do this. I may not even be aware of it. It is all automatically action. So our body is trained, our body is having that nature to react in a way that we ourselves, we have the control, but we are not aware of it. First thing is to bring the awareness, and even howsoever you bring the awareness, there are still few things that is the very nature of this body. And so the point that Krishna is now trying to drive here is that Vimudatma. Every body has operates automatically, but Vimudatma is that foolish person, ignorant person will think out of their own ego that everything they are doing, but actually they are not doing anything. It is the very nature of their body, due to the properties of the body, qualities of the body, qualities of the five elements with which this body is made up of, they react. And so, but ignorant people will think that I am the one who is doing it. It can be good thing or it can be bad thing. For example, few people will say that, oh, I am responsible for such a bad thing, it happened all because of me. They will put the blame on themselves. That is also not correct, because we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything, even if it were unless it is intentional, right? If then we definitely we are using our mind to do something wrong. But again, even in that case, there is a little bit of automaticity, automation is there. That is what is triggering us. So in that case, at least we can step back and stop doing the wrong thing that we were doing. But anything and everything without our knowledge happening, then we don't have to put the blame on us. All we'll have to blame is that nature. But again, it is not an escapism that put all the blame on the nature of this body, because this body is made up of five elements, and that did it. I didn't do it. If we follow Krishna's teachings right away, then people will start doing wrong things and put the blame on the nature, five nature elements, and then they say that I didn't do it. He didn't mean that way. He didn't mean that way. When you are consciously, intentionally doing, that is totally different. That is totally different. And in the sense, like, still the five elements are active. That is why your mind is also thinking that intentionally you want to harm others. Who will think intentionally harming others? Because of the element active within you. That is why you are thinking it. First you need to stop that and be aware that these five elements are active. You need to stop it. But other uh, orientation, something like you are being attracted towards things that you wanted to resist, or you are being too emotional, you want to stop it. These are all very nature of the body. And Vimudhatma, which is foolish people, will think that it is all I am doing it out of their own ego, but it is, they have nothing to do. It is the nature that is doing it. And what do we do about that, right? That is the next verse that he's going to say. Tattvavittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoh guna guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. So guna guneshu and guna karma vibhagayoh. Wise people, intelligent ones, will be able to distinguish between the nature. The guna is nothing but the nature, right? The qualities of this body, the guna of this body, from the actions. They will be able to distinguish that. Because of this guna, I am doing this action. Because of this guna, I'm seeing this action. So they understand the nature, the laws of nature and the body, how it works. For example, I'll tell you this. You're asked to, let's say you do not, let's take an example of a person who don't know how to drive in the United States. They are first starting off, and there is no rule, there is no law, there is no license or any such thing. They didn't know anything about it. They just start driving. Obviously they will end up with a lot of breaking the rules, ending up with a ticket on hand, right? Nothing else will happen. And they will be, and every time, let's say they do that, they get a ticket, and after that their life, they lose the privilege and they will be put in prison, and they will be wondering, what did I do wrong? They are not even aware of there is something called license, and for that license they need to prepare and know the laws and rules of how to drive. And when driving, they don't know that they will have to follow those rules, and they blindly go and drive without knowing all those things. Naturally they will end up creating a lot of chaos, right? That is exactly what is happening now. Krishna is trying to say to all of us, we do not know the laws that exist, and without knowing the laws, if we start living looking around for clues, then naturally we will end up with a chaos. That is what has precisely happened to us. The wise people, when he says the wise people, you can think of them as the ones who know how to drive. They know the laws of nature. They know as a red light means stop. They know a green light means go, and they won't stop on a green, they won't move on a red. They are wise. When there is no red light, when there is no green light, when there is just a stop sign, still they know that they should stop. So likewise, in this body has got its own nature to go behind objects of attraction. It can be uh, it can be food, it can be men, women, it can be jewelry, or it can be house, property, mansions, anything. But that is the nature of this body. But a person who is not knowing that nature, that oh, my body is just going behind the objects of interest. Why is this body going? That's the previous explanation. Because this body is also made up of five elements. Outside objects are also made up of five elements. This body has got the guna to go behind the objects of interest. Because what like-minded people will go together, right? It's always true. This body has got the same properties as the objects of this world. Jewelry is made up of, is from earth. Food, anything that you think about it, is made from the things that you get from earth. Food has got five elements in it. Body has also got the five elements. So natural attraction. All right, so that is how our body and our mind and our intellect is going behind the five elements that are available in the outside world. And land, now you see that, clearly people, why we all are so crazy about buying property, houses, because earth is there inside us a lot. That's why we want to buy earth. We want to own the earth. Not only us, it started way before, right? The Romans, the historians, those who wanted to wage war and win the whole world under the control. Alexander the Great, whoever you take, right? Ghazni, Muhammad, or even Indian warriors are not that much. They were happy with what they had, but external aggression, right? External people invading, getting the country under their control, all those things, if you think about it, they are all because of the land acquisition. That grabbing the land from others, always it was that mind was not there. Right now we are having some money, and so we want to buy land with the money that we have, but still the attitude remains the same, that I wanted more land. That didn't go anywhere, right? So that is because earth element is there inside us, so we wanted that land. So that is how it's being triggered. So a person who knows it, that oh, this whole body is going behind land and food and women and men and other things, is because of the nature of this body. It is getting attracted towards those objects. That person is the intelligent person, wise person. He is not deluded. He knows the differentiation between the qualities that is present inside this body and the actions he does. That is the meaning of this verse. So what we understand, or what we the action that we should take within ourselves, is to be aware of the nature of our body and the actions that we do. We should be observing ourselves, every action, thought that occurs in our mind. We are living a fast paced life that we are not even aware of our own thoughts, what garbage we put within ourselves. If a thought occurs, strikes us, we don't even have time to inspect that and to decide whether to keep this thought within ourselves or to discard that thought, right? We just entertain that. The more we entertain, that affects us more and more. It affects us, right? So we should inspect and say that okay, this thought is not doing any good for me, and the reason that this thought is going inside me is because of the nature of this body to attract things, again to get blown away, and to just imagination, for example, imagination is like the nature of the mind, right? Where does it come from? If you look at it, flying. Flying means imagination. Flying reminds you of what? Wind, right? Wind has a natural ability to move from one place to other. It never stops in one place. What is the property of wind? If someone asks you, it's a test, pop quiz, right? What is the property of wind? It never stops in one place. It just goes. That's how our mind is also tuned. It just thinks one thing, and the next moment it thinks other, and then it goes elsewhere, and then it goes elsewhere. A person, an intelligent person will stop and say that, okay, my mind is now moving as fast as the wind. I should stop it. And then that person will start introspecting, how can I do it regularly? Then that person will sit into meditation to make sure that the mind is not traveling zigzag all over. Let me just make it stand still. What do we do with meditation is that where you are freeing yourself from the effects of those five elements. Fire is not there, of course, because thought itself is absent. That is the stage that we are aiming for meditation, right? When we sit on meditation, the only thought is to make sure null the thoughts. So naturally, any thought is going to have the properties of the elements. That is why divine thoughts are important. Divine thoughts, like for example, Krishna, how beautiful he was, or the place of Krishna, that has nothing to do with devotional, that is bhakti thought. That has nothing to do with five elements at all. But instead, what happened yesterday or what happened today, what will happen, tomorrow to me, that is, if it is a good thing, that is fine. But if it is something bad has happened, I keep thinking about it, whatever that has happened yesterday or what will happen tomorrow, then that is one of the five elements that is making the trick. Nature is playing its trick, and this body mind is all material and inescapable of that nature. So if you prepare a dough for roti or for chapati, and then you prepare some sabji, will naturally you'll be preparing with salt, uh, spice, right? And whatever that you will add, maybe you might just squeeze some lemon or whatever that is. What happens if one thing goes extra? Spice becomes a lot, right? So naturally the overall whatever that you prepared is going to be spicy. It takes the nature, the food that you prepared. People call it spicy because the spice element is more in it. That is true with our body also. In this body, all the elements are there. Whichever element that dominates at that moment, that is the behavior that we will show, and that will make us to be ignorant when we are doing our actions. And then we will start doing our actions with that nature, then we will naturally be attached and doing the actions. And so naturally we will expect the fruits of those actions. Oh, I want to get this because when I do it I will get this, when I do it I'll get this. That is precisely is the dangerous and the wrong, incorrect thing that you are doing, Arjuna. Because of the nature, you are attaching yourself towards the results of your actions, but instead disconnect yourself by being intelligent that it is the body's nature to go behind the results. Attach yourself and look for the fruits of the action. But you yourself are just that Atman. You yourself are that individual. You are not attached to this body. So just go beyond the fruits, go beyond the results, and do your action with this body, but do it as a yajna to me, is what he is trying to say in this verse. Let's see the next verse. Prakriter guna sammudaha sajjante guna karmasu tan kritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet. Ignorant people will just be attached to the actions, and they do not know the difference between the nature of this body and the actions they do, and so they naturally be attached to this, and uh, they cannot actually differentiate. And so, but that doesn't mean that people who have the intelligence should unsettle the minds of the ignorant by asking them to drop all actions and to take sannyas. Probably it might have happened in those days. That is the reason that Krishna is stressing here, that many people, many yogis would say that just they would not, but a person who is intelligent and smart enough, who knows the difference, should not say that doing actions or living in this world is not going to help you. People are all like that. So the only good thing you can do is take sannyas. That is the best thing for you. If someone advise that way, then Krishna is discouraging them. Do not do that. Smart, intelligent people who have that ability to differentiate between the nature of this body and their actions should not unsettle the minds of vichalayet. Vichalayet is unsettling the mind. Mandan. Mandan. Tan kritsna vido mandan. Akritsna vido. Akritsna vidaha. And mandan means one who lack the knowledge of discrimination, and also mandan means ignorant people. Kritsnavit, next word is kritsnavit. Kritsnavit is one who knows the difference, one who is intelligent enough to appreciate it, should not na vichalayet, should not unsettle the minds of the people who are not having the intelligence, is what he's trying to say. And then in the verse 30, 30, he says, now he is now bringing it to a conclusion. He says that Mai sarvani karmani sannyasyadyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudyasva vigatajvarah. Mai sarvani karmani, performing all actions as a yajna to me, as a prayer to me. Sannyasyadhyatma chetasa, by renouncing every result or every fruit arising out of it, and forcing your mind into the adhyatma, inside, into the divine inside you. Adhyatma chetasa, by meditating upon me and by giving all fruits to me of all actions that you do. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva, by staying without hankering for things around you. Nirashir, nirmamo, mamakar, it's mine or I want it, that is mamakaram. Nirmamo is without that. Nirmamo bhutva, one who is without that. Yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Yudhyasva. Now Krishna is asking, engage in this battle. Krishna is asking Arjuna to engage in the battle. And to us, he is asking, engage in this life. So whenever he says engage in the battle, we should translate it to, for us it translates to live your life, because life itself is in a way it is a battle, right? We are fighting a battle, and in this, who is the opponent? Our own mind and our own body is the opponent. So engage in this battle. Vigata jwaraha. Without the jwaram, jwaram means, right? Without the mental fever. So he talks about mental fever. Leave that mental fever that is inside you and then engage in this battle fully, giving everything to me, doing all actions as a puja to me. Engage in the battle. Uh, Jwaraha is that greed, ego, jealousy, uh, uh, mind, ahankaram, mamakaram, right? All those envy, all those things are the mental fever one goes through. If body is going through the fever, you know how it will be, right? It will be like we will be uh, shaking, body will be unsettling, uncomfortable, and we will not we can't eat good food, and we will not be ourselves. The body will not be ourselves. We won't be able to do any actions. Now mental fever is a different level altogether. Mental fever is this. Let's say most of us experience this, right? Jealousy, let's take that example. If anyone says that I have never been jealous in my life at all, then they are lying. We know that for sure, right? Everyone once in a while encounters jealousy. And how we, that moment, it can be few seconds, it will last for few seconds or few minutes or few hours. That moment you'll be like, how can that person so much, it's too much. I have been seeing them that they were never that much, but now it is so much. Mind just goes through, analyzes, and like, why me? I didn't get that. I did all the time good things to good people, and that person was not even thinking anything good to any. But how can that person live so happily? And I am. That is called the mental fever. Our mind now got into that uncomfortable state of fever, and that one has to avoid. And one should, if body is having fever, then we will naturally realize it, we will detect it, we will say that I'm not feeling well, right? At least we will take some medicines and all. But if mind gets into fever, what do? We just live with it, and then we will let it cure itself automatically. But when it recovers, it is not going alone. It leaves a strong impression in our mind and then leaves. So that impact of that fever that we experienced is stronger. That is why we will have to find a cure for mental fever even more than our physical fever. That is what he's saying here as mental fever. Let's see the other verses, what he's about to say. Ye me, this is an interesting shloka. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha श्रद्धावन्तो श्रद्धावन्तो अनुसूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः ये मे matam idam. Ye me matam idam. Krishna now says that this is, he puts his hand on his chest and says that this is my matam. Matam in this case is, this is my opinion. He says that this is my opinion, that constantly, if anyone anutishtanti, that means if anyone observes, anyone is willing to observe this, follow this matam. This is a matam that Krishna has established. Now we call Hindu matam, Christuva matam, Muslim. That not that matam. Now you can think of it as his opinion or his way. He has established his way, right? So he says that e me matam. This is my matam, idam. Nityam anutishtanti manavah is manavah means people. Anutishtanti, people who follow this constantly. Which is, what is this? Which matam? The matam of doing our actions by as a prayer, as a yajna, without attaching our mind towards fruits. And even if mind goes towards fruits, he has given us the root cause of the problem. Why mind and body is driven towards the fruits, which is the material nature of this body is driving towards the fruits. So stop it and be aware of it, because intelligent people always will be aware of their body's nature and their actions, and that goes towards the results, and they will not attach, and they will engage in actions. They will not say that I don't want to do actions. They will do actions, and they will do the actions as a yajna to me. Give everything to me. That is the matam. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto. Do not just do it, but do it with sincerity. Shraddha means, we all know, with sincerity. Shraddha is this. Because if whatever that a guru asks a disciple to do, if that disciple performs that, even though few things I understand, few things I do not understand, but let me figure it out. Eventually, I think whatever my guru asks me to do should be useful to me. Let me do it now, even though I may not be able to appreciate it fully. Eventually, I will. That is Shraddha, because that is having true faith in the words. Now, Krishna is now saying here that Shraddha, whichever person that does with Shraddha, which is true belief and faith in me, and they perform and they accept my matam, my opinion, anusuyanto is without rejecting it. Oh, no, I think this is too uh, I don't understand it. See, one thing is, even though I don't understand it, but since the person who is asking me to do is big, Krishna is asking me to do, so let me do it. That is one thing. or or it can be something like this. The person is something not that great. It's just a person who is just walking on the street, but the words that he spoke was very great, so I'm going to accept it and I'm going to live by that. That is also okay, right? There are two types of people. One is, there is a great hero, he says, so I wanted to do it no matter what it is. Even if it is useless also, my hero asked me to do it. Do it. Other thing is, I don't care whether hero or zero. That person can be living in the street, but that person has a valid point, and so I'm going to live by that. Right? These are actually two different things. Now, in this case, both are supreme. The person is Krishna, which is the supreme Lord, and the words he is asking us to do is also supreme. So why wouldn't anyone not do with Shraddha, right? That is why he's saying that people who do follow this with devotion and with sincerity, without rejection. Oh, no, I don't understand, or it's too difficult, it's so hard, and it's impractical. Any such thing is called, it's not right? Anusuyanto, with na anusuyanto. If that person does it, then he is freed from all the attachment towards the actions. If he performs, lives it, then he attains that enlightenment. Then he attains the perfect state of, he or she attains the perfect state of bliss. Now, the next one is really uh, bold from Krishna, threatening from Krishna. Let's see what it is. 32. ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टानचेतसः. But Arjuna, whoever who is not following this opinion of mine, na ye tve tad abhyasuyanto, which is rejecting. First thing, they reject it and then not following it. Nanu tishtanti me matam, my opinion. They are nanu tishtanti, that is not adhering to it. Then sarvajnana vimudhan sthan, in all knowledge they lack all knowledge. They are ignorant in everything. Even though they may have been the most learned, they would have got triple PhD, but still if this opinion of mine is rejected and they don't follow this path, then no matter, Arjuna, even if they have read all the Vedas, Shastras, astrophysics, space sciences, whatever you name it, right? They are lacking in basic knowledge. Sarvajnana vimudhansthan. They are, in all knowledge, they are vimudaha, ignorant. Vidhi nasthana chetasaha. They go to their own ruins. They are their own enemies. They will fall into the trap of themselves. Others need not do anything. They will dig their own grave. That is what he's going bold and saying, declaring that. And people who think that, and achetasaha is they don't know, they cannot distinguish between right from wrong, Arjuna. I'm saying this, that is the right thing to do. If you wanted to live a happy life, if you wanted to break the birth, death back again, you don't want to be doing that, then this is the right thing to do. But if they reject my proposal, if they reject my idea out of their own ego or out of their own ignorance, whatever it is, if they are rejecting it by ignorance, that means they are not willing to learn. If they are not willing to learn, then they have pride within themselves, ego within themselves, which is stopping them from not learning what I am trying to say. So naturally they will go to their own ruins, and they lack the basic knowledge of discrimination from what is right and what is wrong. So they cannot be helped at all, is what he is trying to allude here. With that, we come to the end of this week's session. I will continue next verses. We will see next verses next week. Until then, have a good time. Shriyah Kantaya Kalyana Nidhaye Nidhayethinam Shri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Sarvam